Hello, Leo, and welcome to your August 2025 tarot card reading, and happy birthday to all of you. For those of you who are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Jane. So happy to have you here. So we're going to go ahead and get started here and take a look at what we can expect for August 2025. So let's start with the tarot cards. So what is it that we can expect here from this upcoming month for Leo? Let's see. We're going to start with 5 cards here. Start with the Lovers, Justice, okay, Leo. So now the fact that we have the Lovers and the Justice card coming out almost, well, not almost, but like the very first 2 cards here. These are 2 major arcana, which means these messages are important and prominent. But it also really speaks to partnerships, working together with people, maybe contracts, relationships, collaborations, all that type of thing, those types of things. If you are in a romantic relationship, this is probably going to lean a little bit more towards that, but it could be a business partnership or some other kind of thing, even an employer-employee relationship. And I just think that's going to take focus or have a significant focus for you. The Lovers card has many layers to it. So let's really start with that. Okay, so the Lovers card on its most base fundamental level is often about choices. And it's about making difficult choices, knowing that choices can completely redefine your life. If you're in a partnership of some kind, this is a choice the 2 of you are going to have to make together. On another level, this is also very much about communication. This is a Gemini card. So we need to communicate. And I think with Mercury retrograde in your sign, at least for the first part of the month, at least until the 11th of August, this is going to be, even that much more important to make sure you communicate thoroughly, to make sure you really say what's on your mind, especially being in Leo, which is so much about self-expression. But also Leo, I think, really demands a great deal of honesty. And sometimes that honesty is really, really hard. And being honest with the people that you're working with or the people that rely on you to tell them what you really think or what you really feel or what you really want. It's not always an easy thing. And with Justice, it also signifies adjustments, okay? Adjustments are going to need to be made on both sides, on your side and the side of the other person. And I think it's going to take a very open mind. I don't think rigidity, closed-mindedness, judgmentalism, that doesn't have a place here, Leo. So whether it's on your side or their side, we all have to be aware of, are we just locked into a specific way of thinking? Because if we are, it might be preventing this balance from coming into place, which really is trying hard to come into place. We're trying to find a middle ground. We're trying to mediate. We're trying to find some kind of compromise so that things can work. And hopefully the other person that you're involved with, or other people, if it's not a singular person, it could be other people, but hopefully everyone is on board with that, right? Everyone wants that same thing. Everyone wants things to work. And there might be some of you who actually have to have courts involved. Maybe there's custody battles, things like that. Maybe there are certain settlements that you're waiting for. And if that's the case, chances are either a settlement will be reached or negotiations can begin, so long as things are on a fair playing ground. Okay, that's going to be very important. I think fairness is going to be a big theme for you as well. Now, King of Cups really speaks to emotional stability as much as I love these cards and as powerful as they are, they don't necessarily suggest stability. They really don't. The one thing with the Lovers that we have to be very cognizant of is ensuring that we are in a state of head-heart alignment and that we are not abandoning ourselves, right? And head-heart alignment is a very divine place to be. And being Leo season, where the sun is in rulership here, I think it's very important for us to, before we make big choices, especially when we're involving other people, to really check in with ourselves and say, is this truly in alignment with what my soul is aching for? And that's something that we're not going to be able to see in the cards, right? That's something that you are going to have to receive from God or the spirit or the higher self. You know, it's a very personal thing, and you're going to have to check in to make sure you're right with your divine power, because then that is going to determine which choices are being made. But again, if there are choices and there's agreements and mediations and adjustments that are being made, right, you're going to have to make sure you stand firm in that truth, and you're going to have to hold a great deal of emotional authority. And if you're, now some people may be naturally like that, where they're just naturally anchored in what they know to be true for themselves. Other people are a little flimsier, where they don't really hold that strength, and they can be easily swayed or easily convinced or manipulated or whatever. So you need to know how strong you are in that emotional authority realm. I'm not even talking human design stuff. I know that's like one of the centers in human design. It's not really what I mean, I guess maybe I am talking about that, but regardless of human design or not, like, you need to be very strong in your emotional state and understand that you should not allow yourself to be swayed right now. And you have to hold firm, you have to hold fast, and you have to be brave in really communicating, right? The Lovers can communicating what you want and need. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere close to that. Okay? And you're not going to set proper expectations for yourself, and you're not going to set proper expectations for other people. And it's going to take you down a path that you're going to look down 6 months from now and be like, how the heck did I get here? You cannot self-abandon right now. It's not a very good idea. But it doesn't mean that you're not willing to make certain compromises or sacrifices. And I think that's a part of the justice energy, is we know that as the pendulum starts to swing, that certain things need to be released. And Leo, I think you're okay with that. You know, I think there might be a sadness about something where you're like, okay, I'm really going to have to let go of this expectation or let go of that idea or even that dream for right now and focus on something else. But the thing is here is that you're letting go, but you're letting go because you're like, nothing is going to come out of that situation if I keep holding on. These adjustments need to be made, because if they're not, it's not just going to be the same old, but it's going to start to degrade even further. So we're not trying to put ourselves in a state of degradation even more. We want growth, we want life, we want creation, which is really what Leo is all about. It's about creation. And if things are just simply not moving in the creation direction, chances are we have to cut ties and look towards something else, look towards something that is more life-giving. It's not easy, but I think that's the thing with these two cards is, the Lovers and Justice, they look beautiful and they sound beautiful, but it's not an easy thing. And Justice especially can be quite tumultuous. So I'm not saying that's going to be the case for all of you, but Leo energy does have a tendency to get pretty extreme. But that's the best part of it, is that we can, in many ways, not just move the needle a little bit, but move the needle, if I could talk, in a more extreme fashion, right? Maybe we're used to normally the needle just moving little ticks at a time, like the little 1 second marker. But what if all of a sudden you can move it, boom, like from the 12 o'clock position to the 1 o'clock position? I mean, in a matter of months, that trajectory is going to be vastly different than the one that you are currently on. And Leo, I think that you are in a position right now to start movement. And I think that's what this whole point is all about. The Lovers and the Justice is so that you can start moving and start budging and start seeing things transpire. We are very much, as a collective, in a more result-oriented mindset where we're not wanting to do things and just keep it in idea form. We're not wanting to do things and just keep it in dreamland, fantasy land, right? Right now, we are in a position where we absolutely want to make things a reality. And if our current state is not getting us there, Leo is all about doing whatever it takes to get us there, okay? And there is movement ahead of you. There's pretty positive movement, and it's peaceful with the Six of Swords. You have to kind of go through the big choices and have the big conversations in order to have this peaceful transition. So now, as we hit the Page of Swords, Strength. I love the Strength for the Leo. It's very much Leo energy. Queen of Cups, Eight of Wands, and Five of Wands. Okay. So the Page of Swords also really speaks to communication, similar to the Lovers right above. But there's also, this came out quite a bit last month. I don't remember if it came out for Leo specifically, but it was a pretty prominent card throughout July's readings. Very much about freedom, and I really equated this to Uranus moving into Gemini, where there is just simply a lot more movement that is possible. The page is open to so many possibilities, right? This is the opposite of being caged in. This is the opposite of being closed-minded, okay? There is no closed-mindedness here. There's a willingness to learn, a willingness to hear other people. And even if people have feedback for you, right? And sometimes to hear feedback from other people is not always an easy thing. But I feel Leo is quite receptive to whatever feedback they need to receive, okay? It's not going to be always the best, but you might get some praise, you might get some validation, and you might get some constructive criticism. Right now, I think the constructive criticism is going to be the best thing for you yet. Right? As much as we love to be validated and we love to hear that we're on the right track, sometimes it's the people who say, you know what, Leo, if you did it that way, it might be easier. Or if you went here, or if you approached it that way, you might get a little bit more of what you want. And maybe that is what you really are craving, which is why I think the open-mindedness is so important. Not to say that you're a closed-minded person. I don't normally say that about my Leos. I think Leos are typically very good at absorbing new information and learning, and they do have that kind of curiosity of things in whatever topics you're interested in. You know, as long as there's a passion there, you'll always be curious to learn about, you know, whatever, new information, new people, and new ways specifically. So I'm really loving the fresh energy here, especially coming on the heels of the Six of Swords where there's movement. So I feel like perhaps because of your emotional strength and this emotional authority that you're exhibiting here today with the King of Cups, that you're finally starting to feel like, oh, I have power in this. I can move. I can have freedom here. And, you know, with the Strength card, it doesn't mean that there's not courageous acts, because I actually think there are some pretty significant courageous acts that you're going to have to go forward with this month. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to say things that you probably thought you'd never say, but it's all for the sake of bringing things back into balance, because clearly somewhere along the way something got out of balance and now things are trying to correct themselves. Strength card, I like it right now because, more specifically, because of the lion. And the lion typically is a symbol of our lower self, right? It's of our physical body. It's our more animal self versus our higher self, which is our consciousness or our soul or our divine connection. It's both. They're both being represented here. But I'm more focused on the lion right now because we have enough intuition. We have enough knowledge of self. But I also think being in control of that physical vessel, channeling this fierce energy in a positive way, is really how we're going to get the job done. as much as we can be in our high seat and, our center of consciousness, and we could be meditating and be aligned with God's will for us, as much as we can be that, we have to remember that it's our lower self, our lower physical body, and our day-to-day mind and our day-to-day consciousness that is actually in the trenches doing the work. So there's a lot of strength in that. We're not trying to escape and just only leaning in on this higher consciousness. We have to be in this physical space too. That's actually where the physical magic is going to happen. Now with the Queen of Cups, she feels like a deeper layer of the King of Cups, where the King of Cups is exhibiting emotional authority. She is exhibiting the intuition, which Leo has no shortage of, right? It's very instinctual, Leo is, where you can really pick up on people's intentions, pick up on people's desires, their emotions, what they are thinking. You can trust this. I'm not saying to jump to conclusions or, or anything like that. I mean, you can use this feeling of this picking up on people, your empathy, I guess we should say. We can use that to kind of understand what other people are thinking and feeling, right? Because the whole point here is to work with people. And this is for you to be strong within yourself, but this is for you to tune into others, right? On one hand, you don't want to sacrifice or scrimp on your own personal desires and wants, but you also don't want the other person to either, because if the other person is sacrificing what they want for your sake, that might be good for you, but we also know that in the future there might be resentment, and I don't think Leo wants that. They don't want resentment towards themselves, right? They don't want other people to have resentment toward them. So if you feel in any way that the people around you are not also in their strength and their power, this is your opportunity to really encourage that. Because that is the only way that this balance and teamwork is really going to be the best possible option for everyone involved. Okay? So as much as you have to check in with yourself, you also have to tap in to the other person as well. All right? Because I'm feeling like the other person might not be as aware of what's good for them as you are. And I don't know why that's the case. They're just not as aware. Not that there's anything wrong with the Queen of Cups. I'm just getting that feeling that you might be dealing with someone who might be bending a little bit too much to your will. And I don't think that's ultimately a good thing. It might be good immediately because you might get what you want and that's great, but how might that tarnish later on? I don't think it's going to go as well. So you want to make sure that you hash everything out during this little tumultuous period right here as good as you can up front, so that moving forward you don't have to deal with the chaos. Because look, everyone, by the end of August, as we move our way into Virgo season, things are going to start moving very quickly. Okay? And it seems to be moving into, now I don't mind the Five of Wands for Virgo season, because Virgo season is typically quite chaotic because it's mercurial ruled, right? It's ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is typically all over the place, and things seem to be spiraling into the, now this is not bad, and it's usually very drawn out, but it does indicate some kind of a kerfuffle, okay, or an argument or something. This is my fear, is that if the other person compromises too much or they give up too much, that's going to kind of lead into something a little bit not great for either of you. I think everyone would prefer to avoid the Five of Wands if possible. Everyone would prefer to avoid it and work through it maybe ahead of time so it can be mitigated. But it does seem like there's a little bit of chaos near the end of the month, it's probably just due to either misunderstandings or people that didn't speak up before are now trying to speak up, and it's a little too late, or too little too late is what I meant to say. Keeping in mind that even though this is an August reading, the beginning of September, on September 6th, we have, well, actually beginning of September, September 1st, we have Saturn re-entering Pisces, which means he's immediately coming back into that conjunction with the fixed star Sheet, which is kind of a destructive star. So Saturn in Sheet creates chaos. Plus Uranus on the 6th starts to retrograde. So there's some big shifts at the beginning of September, and I think people are really picking up on that energy with the Five of Wands. So this is probably due to the fact that people did not speak up before. They were playing little games, or they were just trying to fix it just to get it over with and try to avoid it. And they were trying to, this is why I think that if you're in any kind of negotiation or teamwork or trying to make decisions to move forward with the future, you want to make sure that the people that are involved in this are being honest, and they're not just going with the flow because everyone else thinks this, that they have their own opinions and their own ideas, and they need to bring them to the table. They need to express them. You, especially Leo, you need to express them. Although I have a feeling that not everyone is going to do that. Not everyone is going to, and that's why the Five of Wands is here. So you can expect, and I think you're going to know. You're going to know, Queen of Cups, you're going to know that someone was not totally forthcoming. Someone was, I don't know that they're being like deceitful or anything. It's just that they probably just wanted to be a peacemaker and they didn't want to stir the pot and whatever else. And now they're feeling like it just didn't work out, and they want more and they wish they had, and now it's too late to go back. And it's just a whole big thing. So I don't think it's going to be the end of the world. I think moving into September, this will be mitigated very quickly. They're probably just feeling the effects of those planetary shifts at the beginning of the month, and they want to say their piece. But I think it's too little too late. I really think that's the case. And all we can do now is just move on, and they're just going to have to deal with it, and they're going to have to deal with the fact that they didn't speak up, they didn't say what they wanted, and now they have to just sit in it, I don't think that's your fault, and I don't think that's you, and I don't think it's your responsibility, It's just unfortunate, but I think if you can encourage people, it might be mitigated a little bit. Okay, so let's take a look at the animal spirit. What is it that Leo needs to know to finish off this reading? We have the Nightingale spirit, which says love is all around. And I do think there is, typically like love in this. Like this is, like you're not trying to work against anybody. It's just we're trying to find things that work. We're trying to make the adjustments that are necessary. We're trying to mediate. We're trying to do all these things to make it work for everyone. And there is love involved here. There's love, there's appreciation, there's collaboration, there's all this stuff, but we have to make sure that the contracts are right, We have to make sure that we're fulfilling our end of the bargain, and so is everyone else. The answers you need are coming. It's not really a time, and I felt this last month too, like we don't need to be all in our questions right now. There's really not a lot. We just have to go. Like we already know what we want. We know where we want to go. We don't have to like sit and, well, what about this? And what about that? And what about this? What about that? And I think we want to avoid making life more complicated. We want to avoid overthinking. We want to avoid the stress. And we should be able to just have faith that these answers, they're going to be there. Like they're going to show up when we need them. And all we can do now is just be honest and truthful and proceed with a strength that we know we possess. And we just go forward, and that's it. Okay? So let's go ahead and start pulling out the clarifiers for you. So Leo, The cards I'm about to pull out here are the cards we're going to cover in the comprehensive reading. Okay, so if you want to join me for that, the link is going to be in the description box in the comment thread down below. We're going to go very deep into this message, dig a little deeper into every card so that you can have a better idea of what this reading, is really intending for you. Okay, so what else does Leo need to know here with the Lovers card? Okay. We have the Death card, Seven of Swords, another Lovers card. So I'm going to pull out another one just because we got to repeat Lovers. Hierophant. Lots of major arcana with that Lovers card. It's a very powerful one. Oh my gosh, another Justice. Holy cow. Double down on the Lovers, double down on the Justice card. Big choices, big adjustments, big mediations, wishes coming true. The Nine of Cups. We have the Knight of Coins, Wheel of Fortune. Beautiful. With the King of Cups. We have the Star, the Five of Coins, and the Eight of Cups. Five of Cups. Page of Swords again, similar to here. We have the Four of Wands, Three of Coins. For the Six of Swords, we have the Four of Coins, Six of Cups, and the Moon. Chariot, Nine of Coins, Seven of Coins. Six of Coins for strength, Nine of Swords, Two of Swords, the Emperor, Six of Wands, another Five of Cups, Ten of Cups, the Tower, Hanged Man, Ace of Cups, another Queen of Cups. Oh, I didn't mean to pull four, but that's fine. We obviously wanted four. Page of Cups and Four of Cups. Okay. All right, Leo, so this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. The link is in the description box and the comment thread down below. Thank you all so much. I love and adore you. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon.